We got to talk about this reunion seating chart for the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 17. Yes, I am out and about, but I was like, let me hop in the ride real quick and let's get into this. Okay, so really we got to talk about two seating charts. Yeah, there are two seating charts this year, okay? If you notice, Cynthia Bailey is not sitting in this first reunion seating chart. So that tells us that she comes in at least about halfway through, maybe, or at least that she probably comes in, I would say probably 2/3 or maybe 3/4 of the way through, because Cynthia is in so much of the season, it's almost like she's a full-time cast member. But let's get into it. I'm not really surprised right now because I kind of knew that this was going to be our seating. It's looking like Team Go Naked and Team Outlaw. All right. I had a feeling that if we're going to have K Michelle on this show, y'all, she's not going to sit second chair. She's not going to sit third chair. I would not even be surprised if it was in the contract. I mean, but that's just me guessing because her name carries weight, whether y'all like her or you don't. All right. It's K Michelle. All right. So it doesn't surprise me that she would be first chair this season, even though it's her first season, because of that name. Although you would think it would have been Shamia with the way that everybody has been kind of coming for her and she's having to, right tat 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 right back along with them, right? But no, Shamia is third. So what does that tell us about Team Outlaw on the right side? That tells me that there is some question maybe about whether or not Shamia and K Michelle have squashed their issues fully or not. Because otherwise, I would have put her second, right? Because if you think about it, to me, Shamia had more drama with the people than Kelly did. But because Kelly had so much drama with Portia, that could be also why she's so far up and Shamia is so far down. And then you have Pinky on the end, which makes sense because of the amount of drama. And then you think about, again, the name. K Michelle, the name. She's going to get first chair, y'all. I mean, it makes sense. Again, although I would have thought that it would have been Shamia if we were going to go based on the drama. But I also think that Housewives is also about name recognition to a certain degree. And again, for some reason, it just doesn't shock me. I want to move on over to the Team Go Naked. All right. Team Go Naked kind of makes sense. I would have thought that based on seniority, that would have put Phaedra ahead of Angela, even though it wouldn't make any sense because Phaedra doesn't really have that much going on in terms of drama. So I can see why she might be dangling at the end there. And when I say dangling, you'll see what I mean in a second, okay? And so we have Angela getting second chair next to Portia. And I could see this because she's been, I think, in a lot of the drama. Although Drew has had quite a bit of her own, I just never feel like we have enough footage of Drew to really warrant her sitting closer to Portia or Andy than Angela, who gives so much of her life. I don't necessarily understand the beef between Angela and Shamia, maybe as much as a lot of y'all do. But I can say that Angela gives so much on this show. So if she does get a little messy, I mean, I get it because she's also balancing it out with a lot of story. Whereas we don't get much story from Drew because I would assume that it may be difficult for her to film with her family. I don't know if, based on what their divorce was looking like at the time of filming, whether or not she could film with the kids or not. But we also don't have her sister. We don't have her mom there. So it's kind of just Drew showing up to events. And we did have that one scene with Drew and her team. and then Drew on the date. But outside of that, I feel like we just never in these recent seasons get that much of Drew, especially now that we don't have Ralph to provide that other half of her life spectrum, because he's no longer there. Okay, except he's in the basement for now. Well, yeah. Okay. So again, Phaedra's at the end. So let's get to the interesting part of all this. Cynthia Cheekbones Bailey comes out and she takes second chair. First of all, it's just a wonder to me why you wouldn't just have Cynthia Bailey sitting out there the entire time, to be quite honest with you, because she was there most of the time. Now, I'm going to give Cynthia her props. She's hosted events, fabulous events, the girls' trip to Dallas. I mean, there was so much of Cynthia Bailey this year, she might as well have been full time. So y'all might as well have just had her out there the entire time. And again, it's the order for me, because they bumped down Angela, Drew, and Phaedra for Cynthia. Okay? Cheekbones is firmly in the building, firmly team go naked, okay? And it just shook me a little bit, right? Because, normally that friend position, unless your name is Kathy Hilton, although she ended up getting last chair at that last reunion for Beverly Hills, she ends up coming in as the friend, scooting the main girls down and bumping herself up ahead of Phaedra, who, again, ain't really have much going on. Okay? Now, what else is going on? Cynthia has some stuff going on. Okay? So I'm just so fascinated by this. I am just so fascinated by this turn of events. I didn't expect it. I really did not expect any of this. Well, some of it I did expect. Okay? So, Shamia is down there in that middle seat fighting for her life because, her only real ally on that side is Kelly. Because as we saw in the last episode, Pinky will throw her under the bus faster than, just quick, fast, and in a hurry. Just as fast as she'll eat a piece of salad. You know what I'm saying? Just as fast as she'll cut up a cucumber and stick it in her mouth. So, poor Shamia, man. She in there deep in the middle fighting for her life. She ain't even sitting up at the end with Andy, So, it's interesting to me. Now, people always talk about, well, the seating chart don't really mean nothing. It doesn't really mean anything. I know somebody in the chat's going to say that. But as much as we like to say that it kind of doesn't, it kind of does, right? Because it is an indicator of who, A, the network is looking at as some of the more favored individuals. B, it kind of gives us an idea of the network's perception of the level of drama. C, it also clues us in sometimes to whether or not the network is interested in maybe gauging the level of chaos and confusion that particular seating orders may cause. For instance, sitting Phaedra at the end versus giving her the seniority to sit her a little closer to Andy likely puts Phaedra in the position of understanding that next season or at this reunion, she's going to have to bring something lest she dangle off into the sunset and fall right off the cliff of that deep old edge of the couch. Okay? So, again, at times, it could just be what it is. As in the case with Pinky, it wouldn't have made sense to put her up further. It makes sense to have a space between K. Michelle and Shamia because we don't know whether or not those issues are settled yet. We haven't seen this coming week's episode, so we don't know that. I don't know if the network would know it. They would know it because they've seen the episodes. So I think it makes sense to put Kelly right there. Again, because Kelly also, The two people who have had issues with each other are usually sitting directly across from each other a lot of times. And a lot of times those anchors are sitting right next to Andy. So I'm not shocked. I am shocked by cheekbones though. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Should cheekbones have gotten this seating? I'm actually not mad at it. I mean, she played an integral role. She was spilling tea. She was being messy. She was, doing the things that are required for reality TV to function. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and give it to her. All right. So, anyway, y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments what y'all think. Is this the right seating? And if not, specifically tell me what they got right or what they got wrong in the comment section, and tell me why. I love reading y'all comments. Be thorough. Be for real thorough. Give me your full explanation. Write a dissertation. I love when y'all do that because it gives me so much insight into how you guys are thinking. So with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.